JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, Westmoreland shop owner robbed 10 times before fatal robbery that claimed her life. Wednesday's robbery that took the lives of Westmoreland businesswoman Sophia Brown and her customer Bernie Lewis was the 11th time the store has been hit by thieves. On Thursday, Brown's grief-stricken relatives struggled to make sense of her death, even as they spoke of her resilience in the face of previous robberies at her Long Hill shop in Westmoreland. Among those grieving is her daughter Tiffany Turner, who heard the gunshots that took her mother's life. She said she was nearby at her aunt's house when they heard explosions and shouts coming from the direction of the shop. They both ran to the shop and discovered that both women had been shot. Paulette Brown, the sister of the deceased, said that she transported her sister to the hospital and also witnessed her last breath. "It's terrible to know she lost her life like this," said a distraught Brown. Her sister, she said, had been a polite, hard-working woman who didn't trouble a soul. Also grieving is Lewis's common-law husband, Wilton Mary. He also heard the shots that took the women's lives. He was in the shop's storeroom. "Me did in the shop pack up some goods and me only hear gunshot hit," Mary said, adding that when he emerged, he found both women face down on the ground. "Whole night last night I don't sleep. Oh my God, I cry one night," he said. He said he and Lewis were on their way back from working on their farm when they decided to stop by the shop to purchase items and also help the owner to stockpile her goods. Mary said Lewis, who he has been with for over 40 years, was a good hard-working woman. "When I saw her yesterday, I shed whole heap of your water," he said. Geraldine Brown, the mother of the now deceased businesswoman, is calling on the government to reinstate the state of emergency. "The place won't but the soldiers. Tight security we need," said the elderly woman, who said the soldiers assigned to patrol would always check on her daughter when they were close. They had been stationed at the entrance of the community. "Me no mind if they can catch the killers," said a mournful Brown. Double murder on Olympic Way. Police have confirmed the double murder on Olympic Way in the St. Andrew South Division. 2 men who were along the roadway were pounced upon and shot to death by gunmen. The deceased have been identified as Wayne Smith and Marlon Maduri. Head of the division, Superintendent Kirk Ricketts, confirmed the incident. He said that investigations so far are indicating that one of the victims was the intended target for the gunmen. He said the other victim might have known the gunmen, which is why he was killed. It is reported that residents heard explosions and alerted lawmen, who upon arrival found the 2 men suffering from gunshot wounds. They were taken to a hospital where they were pronounced dead. The Hunts Bay CIB is investigating. Accountant arrested for forgery. A Trelawney accountant who was hired to procure performance bonds on behalf of Elegant Estates Limited has been charged with forgery and uttering forged documents. According to a release, Goldston Cranston was arrested by the Major Organized Crime and Anti-Corruption Agency MOCA on Monday, January 10. MOCA has disclosed that in 2017, the Housing Association of Jamaica HAJ engaged a compliant limited construction company for an apartment complex in the parish of St. Anne. The project was subcontracted to Elegant Estates Limited, which were required to submit a performance bond in favor of the HAJ. The release revealed that the director of Elegant Estates Limited, Garfield Daly, hired Cranston to procure 2 performance bonds on his behalf. One of the bonds was in the sum of 16.4 million Jamaican dollars and the other totaled 5.4 million Jamaican dollars. On seeking to authenticate the bonds, the HAJ discovered that while the bond for the small amount was authentic, the performance bond for the larger amount was fraudulent. The HAJ subsequently reported the matter to MOCA and an investigation was launched. The investigation unearthed that Cranston fraudulently prepared the $16.4 million bond to deceive the HAJ. Cranston was offered bail, but is set to appear in the St. Andrew Parish Court on January 25, 2022. 94-year-old St. Catherine woman perishes in house fire. A 94-year-old woman died Thursday morning in a fire at her home on Morningside Drive in Marlymount, St. Catherine. She has been identified as Daphne Anglin, a retired school principal and justice of the peace. According to reports, the firefighters attached to the St. Catherine Fire Department were alerted to a blaze sometime after 4 a.m. in Marlymount near Old Harbour. On their arrival, the 5-bedroom house structure was seen engulfed in flames. Following cooling down operations, Anglin's charred remains were found in her room at the house. Anglin was reportedly bedridden and resided with relatives who had earlier failed in their attempts to rescue the elderly woman from her room that was engulfed in flames and later spread to the rest of the house. Investigations are ongoing by firefighters to determine the cause of the fire. Chef murdered at bar. A 21-year-old chef is the 10th person to be murdered in the parish of St. James since the start of 2022. He has been identified as Dimitri Dawson, otherwise called Dimmy, of Bread Lane in Paradise, Norwood. Reports by the Montego Hills Police saw that about 3 p.m. yesterday, Dawson was standing at a bar along Bread Lane when he was approached by two men. The men brandished handguns and opened fire, hitting Dawson multiple times before making their escape from the area. The police were summoned, and upon arrival, Dawson, who was lying in a pool of blood, was rushed to the Conroe Regional Hospital where he was pronounced dead. Norwood has been one of the worst crime-stricken communities in St. James that has been overrun by murders in recent years. It is also one of two communities within the parish that is presently a zone of special operation. Men charged with murder of Clarendon teacher remanded. The men charged with the 2021 murder of Clarendon teacher Natalie Dawkins were remanded when they appeared in the Clarendon Circuit Court today. The accused men, 20-year-old Eliada Goldburn of Sandy Bay District and 19-year-old Mario Headley of Palmer's Cross District, both in Clarendon, are to return to court on January 31. They are charged with murder, abduction, burglary, illegal possession of firearm and ammunition, assault with intent to rape, and robbery with aggravation. Dawkins, a grade 4 teacher at Fort Potts Primary and Junior High School in the parish, was reportedly abducted from her home on March 30 last year. The frantic search ended tragically when her decomposed remains were found on April 8, 2021 in Sandy Bay. It was disclosed in court today that DNA was compared using samples taken from Dawkins' father and the siblings to confirm her identity. The court also heard that several documents for the accused files are outstanding. They include fingerprint results taken from a refrigerator that was removed from the home of the deceased and from her handbag and other personal belongings. A statement from the National Commercial Bank, NCB, is also outstanding. The court heard that the file from NCB should be read within a month. It was also disclosed that Goldburn's image was captured on closed-circuit television using an ATM around the time a reported sum of $60,000 was withdrawn from Dawkins' account. The money was said to be shared between Goldburn and his co-accused. Speaking of the outstanding documents, one prosecutor said, "I don't think they'll prevent mature decisions from taking place," adding that there was enough indication that they participated in the demise of the deceased, citing caution statements given by both men in April last year. The prosecutor also requested that the matter moved swiftly, describing the case as one that has dominated airwaves. The Natalie Dawkins Foundation, geared towards assisting disadvantaged students, was launched on April 30, 2021 in the slain educator's honor. Crime fighting boost for Westmoreland Police. Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. Horace Chang, says the government is to provide the police with additional resources to tackle the crime problem in the Westmoreland Police Division. Chang made the disclosure during a visit to the community of Carwina in Petersfield, Westmoreland on Thursday, where siblings Dervin Jones and Sheldon Jones lost their lives at the hands of gunmen on Tuesday, January 4. Following his interactions with the family and members of the community, he told journalists that already some 40-plus officers have been added to the division. Also, there are other officers here added for the operational purposes. So I'm aware that the Commissioner of Police and his team are keeping their thumbs on the pulse of criminal activities in Westmoreland, Chang outlined. From the government's point of view, we're looking at how we can ensure we provide the resources that will be devoted to providing the tools for policing, transportation, reliable communication, proper uniforms, basic body vests, he added. Chang further noted that the government will also be constructing and upgrading several police stations in the division. He said this includes the police stations in Savlamar, Little London and Frome, as well as the divisional headquarters. We will be focusing on Westmoreland during the course of this year, Chang stated. Commanding Officer of the Westmoreland Police Division, Senior Superintendent Robert Gordon, welcomed the incoming resources to the division, noting that the crime-fighting tools will be critical to the increased police presence to help fight crime. He said 5 persons of interest have been taken into custody in connection with the killing of the brothers. 8 more COVID-19 deaths, over 1,300 new cases. Jamaica on Wednesday reported 1,342 new cases of COVID-19 and 8 virus-related deaths in the last 24 hours. This brings the total number of cases recorded on the island since the start of the pandemic to 107,721 and the death toll to 2,514. Of the newly reported cases, there were 746 females and 594 males with ages ranging from 1 day to 108 years. The cases were recorded in Kingston and St. Andrew, 727, St. James, 112, St. Elizabeth, 30, St. Catherine, 144, Westmoreland, 32, St. Mary, 18, Clarendon, 31, Manchester, 85, St. Anne, 115, Trelawney, 5, Hanover, 3, St. Thomas, 33, and Portland, 7. Meanwhile, the latest victims are an 82-year-old male from Portland, a 54-year-old female from St. Anne, a 74-year-old male from St. Anne, a 72-year-old female from St. Anne, a 75-year-old male from St. Anne, a 61-year-old male from St. Catherine, a 42-year-old female from St. Catherine, and a 78-year-old female from St. Catherine. 5 other deaths are under investigation. According to the latest statistics from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the country also recorded 99 new recoveries, bringing the total number of recoveries to 66,850. The country's positivity rate now stands at 53.3%. There are 12,010 confirmed active cases on the island. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.